Hello everyone. In today's session, I will be demoing the logging platform that comes with Distro HIS. Also, I'll be demoing the capabilities that the logging platforms, which is Grafana, offers in terms of visualizing the logs, um, debugging the logs, and adding alerts on those logs that are captured on Grafana. So let's start with visiting the dev-his.openmrs.org. So this is the dev server URL for OpenMRS distro HIS. We are redirected to the SSO page. I will be logging in with the sample user credentials, which is JDO and password. Once I enter this, I will be logged in into OpenMRS. From OpenMRS, we can use the app menu to visit to basically go to the logging platform, which is named as Logs Management. Once I click this, I will be redirected to grafana.openmrs-his.mekomsolutions.net. Here I will be entering the credentials again. This is admin. I will be skipping changing the credentials. Okay, so I am logged in into the logging platform, which is Grafana. Now I will be going to explore a section where I will be able to visualize different logs. So here is the screen which I will be mostly focusing on today. We will have to select the Loki option from here, which is the data source from where the logs are stored and basically where the logs are coming from in Grafana. Then we can select the time duration which we want, maybe last 6 hours, last 5 minutes, 15 minutes. We can select anything. Even we have a from and to section where we can select from this time window. Basically, we can select a time range in which we want to basically see the logs. Moving ahead, how you can basically see which container from where the logs are coming from and select and choose. So we'll go inside label filters, we'll select container name, and then we'll select the value from here. So there are different containers, as OpenMRS distro HIS is a Ozone distro. So Ozone has different containers where each service is running. These are Docker containers. So we can choose whichever container logs we want to see. So basically these are the same services which are running on distro HIS. So there are these EIP routes for Odoo that are running, Fire Odoo as a service. This is OpenMRS frontend. This is Keycloak, MySQL database, Odoo, OpenMRS, Postgres, and the proxy which is running. So for now, I will select maybe OpenMRS backend, which is this option. Now after selecting that, I already get a hint saying add JSON parser. This is a hint I'm getting because all the logs that are streamed from OpenMRS are already in JSON format. So adding this parser will make the visualization better. So maybe I can add that. Once I have added that, I can see line contains JSON. So this is basically the parser which we just now added. We can right now see a query being written here. So this is the logql, which is automatically generated when we choose what container, what filters we want to add. Moving ahead, I will be choosing a smaller window, which is maybe 30 minutes, last 30 minutes. And we will, once selecting that, this query is run automatically. And we see some error logs coming up. So these are the error logs which we can see. So there are 2 error logs coming every few minutes. There are no warning logs. Maybe I can select a bigger time range and then we will be able to see more logs. So if we focus here, so this time, which is 13:52, we can see there are 4 error logs and 1 warning log. We have an option to select a time range from the graph itself, so we can highlight this and we can select a time range, time window basically, and we can see different error logs during that time. So here we can see 1 debug log, 7 error logs. Okay, moving ahead, we have the error lines, the error logs printed here. So we can see this is a lab on fire issue, which is fetch task updates. I think we have connected to the demo OpenLS server, and this is a recurring issue, which we can basically silence also when debugging some issues. So what I'll do is I'll copy this, I'll add another filter. So this says line contains, I'll choose line does not contains, and I'll put fetch task updates. So and then run this query again. So now we can see the error logs, which are all the error logs apart from this fetch task updates. Now we can see only few error logs. So moving down, we can see there was this again an OpenLS lab on fire issue, but let's scroll down and see more. So maybe I can expand this. This is a Hibernate engine JDBC SQL exception helper issue. So this says I can read out the message: data truncated too long for column, error at row 1. So this might be an issue. We can similarly see more error logs: lab on fire configuration issue. So this is how you can basically expand on the error lines, select and see what all error logs were there, debug the issue, and figure out what was the exact stack trace for each and every error that was captured. I think there are colors also. So for the error logs, we'll see these red lines. For I think debug logs, yeah, for warn logs, we'll see these yellow lines. So this is a level 1 log which says OpenMRS module OAuth2 auth scheme. So this is a OAuth2 related error or warn log. We can see similarly all the details mentioned here. It says no results for path provider. So this is an issue which is logged on the Grafana dashboard. If we again go back on top and maybe choose a different service or container name, which is basically the EIP routes for Udo OpenMRS integration, we will be able to see some different logs. So we can see there are a lot many warnings, warn logs and debug logs, but not exactly error logs that are captured. So we can see these logs saying skipping new drugs with external ID. Maybe these are too many and we want to skip these logs because we know these exists. So maybe we can remove these and focus on the high urgent issues or urgent logs which we want to see here. So now we have a narrower list. We have a logs volume chart here. We can see how many debug and warning logs are there. So we can be sure there are no errors during this time window. And again, these are JSON formatted, so it's easier to look into these, find what was the warning log or error log. So this was successfully obtained auth log. So basically this is just a debug log which is added. Yeah, I think this was basically how you could select and choose and visualize these logs coming from the OpenMRS Destroy HIS into Grafana. Also, we have documented most of the things that I've explained just now on the Ozone docs, which is docs.ozone-his.com. So this is a documentation website of Ozone where you can um, go inside and see how Ozone is built, how to try and test out Ozone, different sections. But most probably I'll be looking into system implementers, and I will be going inside logging. I think you can see logging under deploy and manage. You have different options. Logging is one of those. You can select that. Once selected, you will be displayed with how this mechanism is set up between Ozone and the Ozone distro and Grafana, and how this ingestion happens. So we have an overview of this platform, log levels. There are error, warning, info, debug, trace logs that are ingested into Loki. You can see we have added some screenshots, how to access these logs, select the data source, query these logs. There's an option to query with logql, run how to run the query, what is the log structure and how these are labeled, how you can see OpenMRS logs, what are the available options in JSON for these different services, for OpenMRS, for EIP, camel logs, for Odoo logs, Personate, and even the proxy. So this is, I think, pretty detailed. Maybe we can go through this in detail in some other video. But yeah, this is how you can write queries, structure queries. And there are some very helpful examples of how you can write and add filters, different filters with the logql. Single line filter, simple line filter for Odoo and Personate. You can even see the rate and volumes of queries depending on which level of logs you want to see. Also, I was talking about alerting. We can set up alerting on these logs and the amount of logs that we get during a particular window. We can choose the error rates, performance, authentication, integration, database, camel routes. We can set up alerts on all these and select different labels and different filters to alert on our Slack channels or on emails or any other uh, uh, platform which we want to send alerts on. We have also jotted down some logql queries, tips, and best practices. So how to start with container filters, use specific time range, combine filters efficiently, leverage the regex patterns to go deep dive into your logs and figure out which logs which logs are the ones which are basically issues for your application. Yeah. The other way when you're trying it out locally is using the Docker CLI. So if you're trying this out locally, you can just look into your containers, use this very helpful line, which is to see how these to format the JSON logs into more meaningful and visually easy to read log lines. I think that was it for the documentation part of logging. Thank you so much for watching.